Hey guys, so it's vlog 40 something and a lot has changed. I got a new chair for my desk, I picked up a 3D printer, and I'm getting back into an old hobby of mine, which is remote control flying. I built my very first plane, which is an F-22, and it's gonna be awesome. This is as far as I got. I'm just using poster board, but it's gonna be legit. I got all the motors and all the equipment over here, the batteries, the lipos. So if you guys are interested in this stuff, stick around because you're gonna learn some stuff. Okay, so first things first, this is the motor I'm using. It's a 370 1080 kV rated outrunner motor, and I just attached the prop to it. So I needed to mount this guy on the end to my actual foam RC build. And I went into Blender and basically created this little guy, which has spacings according to what I need. And I sent that into Cura, which is a 3D printing software, and basically split up the layers into my own densities and stuff like that. So I sent that over to my 3D printer, which is now printing out that part. It's only $200 for this printer. So this whole setup is $200, and I definitely recommend it if you want to get into this stuff. I'll link it all in the description below. So the 3D print just finished. So this is the motor mount, and I'm very happy with it. I can just take this block and glue this in place, and then the motor should theoretically be free to spin. Okay, so as you can see, the motor mount works great, but with my notch, it doesn't actually fit right away. So I need to go back another little bit to get that centered. So I'm probably gonna shave off a whole 5 millimeters. So also to be safe, I'm gonna shave out a little bit more up here. So now the only other thing that I need to do is, when I slide this guy in here, I need to trim down these parts. So right now I'm basically just shaving off a slightly 45-degree angle on the elevons so that when they teeter on the edge, they'll have more space to go since it's at a 45-degree angle. This is coming along great. I'm not really following any instruction, and then I'm just kind of doing this as I please. I want to learn as much as possible. Looks pretty good. All I gotta do is add the V in the back, which will give it that final finishing touch. So now it's time to put the wings on, and I basically made this guide for 68 degrees, and this is gonna be the wing. So plop it on here and solidify it with some super glue. Alright, so as this is drying, you can see that this is pretty much spot on to that 68 degrees that I have set right here. So the actual frame of the entire plane is built. Now I just have to add on the servos right here that will control the elevons back here. Okay, so now both of the servos are wired up, and I routed them out this way, drilled a hole through there, and just connected up to the Spectrum receiver, which is connected to the ESC. And then I have my controller, so I'm gonna bind the two and then zero the servo so that I can connect the servo arm to the elevons. Alright, so I just did an initial test. Axe and Allie are home. Say hi to the vlog, Axel. There we go. So I just did a test, and the servo arms look to be great. Alright, so now I cut a little slot to feed some Velcro through here. Finally done, and Sammy is up here taking a nap. There she is. Hi, Sammy. I cut a hole through here to feed the battery line, and then I pretty much dremeled out or used a knife to make some spots for Velcro so I could tie these down. These wires run back here to the servos down here, and the motor is mounted right here using the mount that I designed and 3D printed myself, so that's pretty cool. And then down here on the servos we have a servo arm connected to this thing, because these things are pretty weak. And then I have full control over everything that I need to do. So right away, these flaperons look like they are right. We got to test the prop. So that is pretty cool. Everything is set up and working to my standards. I'm very, very excited, but I am also super nervous to have the main flight. Everything checks out to be perfect. So I just gotta charge up the batteries and go to the park tomorrow morning. Today we are going to be flying this F-22 that I just built last night. Am I nervous? Probably, but I'm pretty confident. Like, everything feels great with once the batteries on there, the COG looks good, you know. I think it turned out great. Like, I think I'm just gonna hold it right here and then full throttle and give it a toss, you know? I guess. All right guys, so I'm out here at the park and let me just get this GoPro rolling real quick. We're recording on the GoPro so it sees everything that I see for the time being. I think it's important to document this since this is my first time I would be flying a plane that I built myself. Let's get a barrel roll on camera if I can. Whoa! I did it! So happy. I am so happy. So the plane that I spent all night building is flyable. So I realized that it has some torque on it, so I had to do some trimming in the air, and it was a little nose heavy, so I think I'll move the battery pack back a little bit if I can, but I learned a lot today and I'm so excited. I have a whole nother battery left. Flight time's around 10 to 15 minutes depending on how you fly it, but it's really hard to film. But the main thing that I wanted to show you guys that if you have a passion or a hobby, just go for it. Like I'm not an aeronautical engineer, but I managed to build an F-22 plane and fly it around the park today. So I am stoked.
To the right.
Ah, I did it.
Close.
So yeah, this is a lot of fun, but what do you think of your son? He built this.
I think he's cool. I don't want to fly it. I think it's totally cool. He can do this kind of stuff.
It's a lot of fun.
Loving him home.
Yeah, it's nice to be home. This is a great night to be out here. But, all right, that's the end of the vlog.